got a lot to talk about today, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, check out this awesome orb or Tic Tac or whatever the heck this thing is. This UFO captured in Poland. Look at this beautiful capture of this craft flying over this idyllic small town and countryside. Just a wonderful footage of what I think is a genuinely anomalous craft. I don't think that can be explained by a bird or a bug, but let me know if you disagree. Of course, you know, anything can be faked these days, but to me that looks pretty good. And as we get over here, it looks more tic-tac-ish to me, which looks a lot like the Beaver, Utah object, whatever that thing was, a white oblong object, seemingly, although it was going so fast, it was hard to tell for sure. But yeah, I think this is a great capture, so let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, from Ask a Poll, Matt Laszlo talks to Representative Burleson, not Senator, Representative. And let's see, what do you make of that Wall Street Journal piece? Matt asks. Well, you remember, like, that was my original worldview, because originally Eric Burleson was very skeptical of the whole UFO thing. He agreed we needed answers and that there were unexplained objects out there. But he seems to have gotten more open-minded as we've gone along and embraced seemingly the more anomalous nature of the phenomenon. And when Eric Davis was sitting him down in Congress and talking about reptilians to him, Eric didn't blink an eye. Well, now he says what he's saying is probably the case. Talking about the article, the debunking article from the Wall Street Journal, I think it's the most likely scenario that it was all disinformation. So that's not encouraging from Eric Burleson. Matt Laszlo goes on to say, interesting, but that kind of seems at odds with your conversation with folks in the FBI's UFO unit. Or do you think they're all just siloed? Yeah, Eric says, so I would say I do think that the people that provided information for that article did not have a full picture of everything that's going on. They do not. There's no way they could. But at the end of the day, I think they don't have the full picture. Okay, so I'm getting mixed messages, Eric. Are you saying that it's all disinformation, that you agree with the Wall Street Journal article, or that you don't and that there are indeed anomalous elements to the phenomenon? Seems like he's agreeing there's anomalous elements, but he's hard to read from that quote. But continuing, Eric Burleson planning to investigate the Air Force. I'm going to be looking into seeing, like, were there any laws violated in some of this deception? The story of the individual who went to a bar and handed fake photos or whatever it was, how is that not illegal? Yeah, the idea of there being fake information, brainwashing attempts or whatever you want to call it, disseminated amongst the American public, that's illegal. Caught our ear when I talked to UFO whistleblower David Grush. He says that's ridiculous, Burleson tells us. He would have heard of that. He's never heard of that. So, David Grush thinks it's all BS. Eric Burleson is saying that at the very least, the Wall Street Journal article doesn't have the full picture. I would say it goes well beyond that. Seems like a lot of their information came from the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. So, they may have a full picture of some disinformation. But anyway, it is what it is. He does seem to suggest that there are some unanswered questions to all of this. So that's good. That's good. He's not shutting the door on all of this because of the UFO, because of the debunking piece. Meanwhile, Mark Kelly, Senator Mark Kelly, former astronaut, who has always been very skeptical of the UFO phenomenon, and he says, when he was in space, he never saw a UFO. He's actually becoming more open-minded on all of this. So Matt asked him again about the Wall Street Journal UFO piece. Kelly says, I saw something about that. I read part of that article. I'm not surprised. No, I don't know if it's true. And let's just go to the audio, because we have the audio of that.
Yeah. The one very public case, the one with the Tic Tacs on the FLIR, the F-18 FLIR, with the squadron commander that went out there. And it's pretty compelling, and with not a great explanation.
Yeah. So that one.
I've looked at it. I've looked at the video. I've talked to the guy.
Yeah.
He's a very credible observer.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, yeah, so Mark Kelly has talked to Commander David Fravor, apparently, and he seems to think that the Tic Tac UFO is genuinely anomalous, or at least unexplained. So a formerly skeptical person slowly getting on the UFO train. I love it. I love it. Let's keep it going. Let's get more people on board. Meanwhile, we've got a whole new video. It's an hour and a half presentation about the mega structures under the Giza Plateau. I think I need to do a standalone video on this. There's a lot to go over. I'm, as you can see, about an hour into this, but I wanted to make you aware of it so that you can watch it on your own. Some really fascinating stuff here. And yeah, again, I'll have more to say about it at another time, hopefully. But there were some another additional element to all of that from Jay Anderson, who says, you heard it here first. There is a labyrinth below Sacsayhuaman, which is as close as I can get to saying that name, in Peru, in the Cofre Project. You know, those guys who are investigating and may have discovered the megastructure under the Giza Plateau. Well, he says the Cofre Project has intentions to perform scans on this labyrinth below Sacsayhuaman in Peru. Meanwhile, I hope you've had time to watch the newest episode of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, but if you haven't, I encourage you to do so. It's a great episode, lots of fantastic stuff in there, and amazing experiments that they're doing. They were launching all these drones up in the air to create this smoke swarm so they could try to map out the anomaly over the triangle, that highly anomalous area of the ranch. And a great experiment, but things, of course, start to go wrong, and as they always do. Well, yeah, here's the shaft of drones that they also deploy here. And their goal is to send a rocket up through the shaft. Yeah, that's right. Travis wants to send his rocket through the shaft. Yes, that happened. But the phenomenon on the ranch had other plans. They did this twice. At one point, the rocket was way outside of the shaft, even though on their computer screens, their GPS, it was showing it go right up through the shaft. They were, being misled by the phenomenon to, launch their rocket off course, so it couldn't get the data they wanted. So they fired it again. This time they were able to get it up through the shaft, but not through the center. As you can see, it's on the edge. So just really interesting data there that, repeatedly being interfered with by something that doesn't seem to want them to study the area above the triangle, where, as I've talked about before, they seem to have uncovered some sort of a dome-like anomaly over the triangle, and other scans show there is a curvature below as well, this force field or whatever it is, maybe around a portal or something, we don't know quite what it is, creating actually a sphere or a bubble around the area of the triangle. Really, really fascinating stuff. So yeah, some great experiments, and of course, they were able to catch some anomalous looking objects that may have been present during the experiments. And there's some other great data, information in that episode. Highly recommend you going and checking out the full thing. I think that's episode 2 of the latest season. I guess that's season 6 of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Meanwhile, the clip I'm about to show you is part of a larger test of psi abilities at Contact in the Desert. this autistic daughter is trying to read her mother's mind. The daughter is blindfolded and she can't see what's being shown. This colored card here that has both a color and a shape, and she's, her goal is to discern or divine what that color and that shape is by reading the mind of her mom, who can actually see it. So so here goes.
Okay, there we go. There's the image and there's the color. Everybody back here can see this, I hope. Now we're going to show it to the stage. Dahlia?
I don't know what color that is. Okay. You ready, sweetie?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what was the color first? Go ahead and spell. Y. E. L.
The daughter, I believe, is autistic.
O. W. You got that. All right, sweetie, and what was the shape that he had?
Oh, I know.
S. Q. She's going faster than I can say. A, then R, and E.
Lito, you're amazing.
All right, got it. So yeah, and there's more demonstrations besides, but I thought this was fantastic. I wanted to show it to you guys. Psi abilities are real. And it's really interesting how mixed up with UFOs they are, to the point that the control group uses psionic assets to interact with and even potentially bring down UFOs. Jake Barber and Mike Carrera have both spoken to this. That is part of what Skywatcher does, the organization that Jake Barber is now a part of. Not bringing the craft down with psionics, but luring them in and getting them on camera in other sensors as well. Can't wait to see the next episode of Skywatcher, when we will get to see the psionic assets themselves actually talk about their own experiences and get to learn a little bit about what they do, and maybe even, hopefully, what they have been able to discern from these crazy objects that they're getting out at Skywatcher. Because, what the hell are those things, guys? We've got jellyfish or blobs. What are those things, guys? Are manta rays tumbling through the sky? Very anomalous stuff that don't look like structured craft. What are they? Are those psychic people actually able to communicate with those beings or ships or systems, whatever they are? I want to hear from those psychic guys. So I love that the psychic part of all of this is getting some play at Contact in the Desert, because it certainly deserves it. Meanwhile, Joe Murgia is sharing George Knapp's thoughts on the Dan Burish story. And I don't share this to, cause drama or to share drama, but because I think it's important to know who's a truth teller in the field and who's not. A lot of people take Dan Burish seriously, and, I don't have anything against him or his information, but I definitely take George Knapp seriously. And he seems to have come out strongly against Dan in the past. So let's read some of his comments as shared by Joe Murgia. Now, this is a quote from 2004. Dan Burish is a manipulative, egocentric, phony baloney goofball. You can quote me. Okay, well, we have. Joe's post from April of 2022, George Knapp. The Eagle has crash landed. It's just my opinion, but the name-changing, secret-spilling, telltale-telling UFO whistleblower known as Dan Crane or Dan Burish, or the biologist formerly known as J-Rod's lab partner, is a complete goofball. And J-Rod, of course, is the alien J-Rod. Interestingly, Dan Burish is not the first person to have talked about J-Rod, but that's a separate topic. Dan Burish, to continue, as a manipulative, egocentric, phony baloney goofball. You can quote me. And Joe gives his sources there for those quotes. But I just wanted to put that out there, again, not to, rag on Dan Burish. But, if George Knapp is correct on this, it may be worth keeping in mind. Meanwhile, a few days ago, I told you that I would share another one of Max Afterburner's UFO encounters. He's a jet pilot and he has had some interesting encounters. And here he is relating his second one.
So this one happened when I was in a different jet. I'm up at 30,000 feet. I was cruising at probably about 400 knots. It was daytime. The sky was clear, and I'm scanning the horizon, just standard procedure. You know, you got everything else doped. The jet's looking good. Scan outside, looking for other aircraft, looking for weather, things like that. And then just out of nowhere, off the left-hand side, down the wing line, it was a bright object just caught my attention. And I thought it might be really far off in the distance, but I could tell that it was getting bigger as it was coming towards me. So that means it's really close. And it wasn't moving on the windscreen really much at all. And that's actually something that we train for a lot as a fighter pilot or any type of jet pilot, is if something's not moving on your canopy, it means you're on a collision course with it. So immediately I thought I was on a collision course with something. And I kind of had this moment where I'm like, we're up at 30,000 feet. There shouldn't be anything else up here. What is happening? So a moment of like my eyes just kind of getting wider. I put my hand on the control stick. I'm about to turn off the autopilot. And then I realized we weren't going to hit it. And all of a sudden it came more into view, and it was a rectangle shape. This was like a essentially perfect rectangle shape. Maybe I would assume probably like 30 to 50 feet high. It was bright white along the outside edges, and it was like the outside edges were glowing. And then on the inside, it kind of got a little bit lighter colored, and it went all the way down to like a cream and then a clear center. So cream in the middle and then clear center. I know it sounds like I'm talking about like a delicious pastry, but literally was the wildest experience I think I've ever had, because immediately I thought it might be a weather balloon. So I'm looking for a tether. There's no tether at all. And so then I'm thinking, you know, am I imagining this? But it starts to get closer and closer off of our left-hand side. And it didn't do a breakneck speed thing. It didn't just fly past. It kind of went like a slower motion, which makes me think it was going the same direction as us and not being like a opposite direction, which would make it, give it that breakneck line of sight where it just flies behind you.
Okay, I'll let you watch the full video at your leisure, and of course I'll link to this in the comments below. But yeah, a really fascinating encounter of this weird, crazy rectangle UFO. Is this similar to the spheres and cubes we've heard about, or the cubes and spheres, whatever they are? You know, is it something like that, or is this totally different? Let me know what you think in the comments below, but I thought that was a fantastic experience. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.